So just as I was telling them last week, we really can't. Oh, we're live.
Oh, we don't want to ruin it. We don't want to ruin it yet. Yeah, exactly. All right, but we are live, and we are the keepers of the kayfabe. I'm HeelHugz. That is the MachoFanSandyRavage, and we keep the kayfabe, whether it's true or fake.
Always. Whether it's real or it's fake, always keep the kayfabe.
That's right. And we're a little more professional this week. We got some little different things down here. We got the little logo up there. It's pretty cool. Looks legit. And, I'm feeling good. It actually kind of matches your vibe with the purple shirt. I'm digging it.
It does. I am feeling the vibe here matching, and we are vibe checking, it feels like.
Vibe checking, that's right. I got my passport ready. I don't know if you have yours, but I have mine. For those of you who are listening, thank you for listening and not thank you for not watching, but thank you for listening. But Sandy is wearing his I wake up feeling like
Sandy Ravage.
Oh, there you go.
Way too damn
good. In purple, also I saw a green edition. They both look very good. Where can you get that?
You can get that in my link tree in my bio. It's off Teespring, and you can just search Macho Fan. Teespring / Macho Fan. And Hugs, you got some merch, and it is official.
I do. Bam! We got ProWrestlingTees.com /HeelHugz. We got Heel Club merch over there right now. It's just the Heel Club shirt. Otherwise, Teespring.com /Heel Club. You can get Heel Club shirt. But hopefully, we'll get some Keepers of the Kayfabe merch soon, and maybe even if you're over on TikTok. Maybe we'll get some TTWF stuff eventually over on Pro Wrestling Tees. Make it Pro Wrestling official.
Oh, yeah. We just broke 1,000 followers on TikTok. So TTWF is where it's at.
TikTok Wrestling over on TikTok.
And that's talk. TALK.
But that's what we do. We do a lot of promo battles and stuff like that over on TikTok. And it's been a lot of fun. But what we're getting to today, while we're keeping the kayfabe, something that I think is synonymous with pro wrestling. Like, it's one of the most engaging parts of pro wrestling, almost as much as promos, theme songs.
Yep. So it is the first introduction of a superstar. So it is probably the most important, you would say, in building a character.
For real. And I think it does kind of make or break your first impression. I think we'll get into this more as we talk about all of the themes and the way that we interact with them or enjoy them. But you have the themes that are perfect for the surprise entrance. You have the themes that just kind of build a character and give them a vibe before you even really see them in the ring. And what's kind of crazy is going back and watching really old wrestling. It's so weird not having that.
Yeah. Or when the themes were something that was just a throwaway. Yeah. Like, I'm going to start it off here, like Macho Man's theme. You kind of think of it, it wasn't a popping theme when you heard it. It wasn't like, oh, it's the Macho Man. It was a kingly entrance, and it was that old classical style, but it wasn't one of those that you hear it, the audience chants and cheers.
Exactly. Well, it was almost like just kind of a way to kill the transition back then. Other than like I think the Freebirds were the first ones, right, to use the theme song. I'm not positive. If we can get a fact check, somebody who watches this, comment down below. If you're listening and not watching on YouTube, then just yell it out your window. But I believe it was the Freebirds who were the first like major group that used a theme song coming to the ring, and I believe it was Freebird, of course, because they were the Freebirds. But like that rock and wrestling genre is really what pushed the theme songs to the next level. And what I want to get into very first, because to me, I feel like it is the iconic first theme song that I ever think of, Hulk Hogan. I am a real American.
100%. Dick Dillinger, I believe, was the original player of the song, but it was one of those songs when you heard it, especially because it was kind of moving from the territories and actually televised. It was something everyone could relate to, and it was that first theme where you could hear it, and everyone knew who was coming out at that time.
And it had a build to it. It wasn't, it felt like it fit him so well with like the hulking up and everything, and it really stood for what he preached and stuff like that. And I don't know, it's one of those things where that song wouldn't be a banger today, but it was perfect for the time. It was perfect for the character.
Perfect babyface promo. It was a perfect babyface promo, especially during that time where Vietnam War was post-happening, and everything was going on where we were trying to build ourselves back up as a country. It kind of reminds me the same with Dusty Rhodes. He had the American Dream, which kind of had that same vibe to it. Where it wouldn't be a banger today, but you know.
Hey, I think that could get over today still. Naomi sang that on karaoke thing, and I was
Yeah,
jamming that.
how well did that work?
Hey, I think out of a lot of the old themes, just that. See, the thing that I like about a lot of themes is they have that like hook in the very beginning, and that
Mhm.
American dream. Like that's like a
Dream.
pop, and then everybody goes for the tick, tick, tick. You know, it
Mhm.
has that initial hook that I still think that could get over. It wouldn't be as cool, but it would be cool.
It does have that nice entrance, that big pop where when you hear it, kind of like the obvious, the glass break.
There we
When you hear
go.
the glass break, probably one of those iconic entrances, you can show a
Mm-hmm.
picture of Stone Cold entering and you can hear it.
Yep. If I hear glass break to this day, I'm looking for Austin. If my
Yeah.
wife drops a glass in the kitchen, I'm like middle fingers in the air, like just just ready to go. Don't trust anybody. Exactly. Where's
Smashing
the
beers,
beer?
the Steve Weisers.
Hmm. I feel like a lot of the iconic wrestlers, like the main stars you would think of, the Hulk Hogan's, the Steve Austin's, The Rock, his has kind of become a very iconic theme because of his catchphrase being in it.
Yes. Same with MJF. One of the reasons his
Mm,
theme song kind of works, it has that jazzy, like funky feel,
yeah,
but you wouldn't associate with MJF if it wasn't for the "I'm
I'm
better
better
than
than
you,"
you.
and you know it at the beginning. And
Yep.
same with Shane McMahon. We just saw him
Mm,
return on Raw, but like, here comes
Florida.
the money. It's that one thing where you hear it and you know exactly who's coming in, which is like that pop factor. Which do you believe that is what makes a promo, or not a promo, an entry, uh,
Interesting.
an entrance theme song, or would you say it's something that needs to have more of a character build, like maybe Finn Balor's?
I think it depends on the character. It depends on the wrestler. Because somebody like Shinsuke, his original theme just fit him so well. Because he's just like this enigma of a
Mm-hmm.
character that just kind of flows into your life and you don't understand how to deal with it. And his theme song fit that so well. Demon Finn especially, with the the heavy breath and then the explosions, and you know what I mean, like it definitely fits him very well. When you talk about having like the words in the theme song, I immediately think of Mark Henry.
Oh
Somebody gonna
yeah,
get the ass kicked. Somebody gonna get the wig split. Like that is the best. I don't know why that sticks with me, but it absolutely does, and I love it.
I agree. The same I have as John Cena's Thugonomics promo. One of those ones where when it came out on that WWE CD, it was one of the ones I always listened to, just because it was one of the first real times where we saw a wrestler actually sing his own theme song. And that
Mm-hmm.
wasn't like a Jeff Jarrett style or kind of something that was kind of hokey. It was like something that kind of took it serious. Enzo, the same thing.
Yeah.
You're soft, you're sweaty. It's
Mm-hmm.
like it's just great. It's just the way that they can go about and make their own themes. It works with their character.
Yeah, and I think if it works along with the character that they're doing, then that just enriches your experience even more. And I agree with John Cena 100%. I actually, on my list here of themes, I have both of his themes. He's one of the
Mm-hmm.
few people that really had two banger, like out the park, you would pop no matter which one you hear theme songs.
Yeah, 100%. The other person though that stands above him, obviously, the Game, Triple H,
Yeah.
the King of Kings, and the Game's theme song were both just. I don't even know which one I would put over another, because time to play the game is just. And then King of Kings was just another stepping stone where it's like the perfect sequel and or prequel and sequel build up. Boom, perfection.
I don't know that I'd put it above Cena though, dude. I think Cena's two themes are some of the best themes in all of pro wrestling. I would put them above the game. I'd put them above Triple H's themes.
Really, yeah.
And,
See, that would be a
and
tough choice for me, but they're
I'm a
more.
much bigger Triple H fan too, but I don't know.
Cena's, I would say, though, they did have more of a variation from theme to theme. Not
Yeah.
much. I mean, he does rap kind of in both of them, but like the
Mhm.
sounds of it are different and he did, I would say it's more impressive and creative because Cena did create most of it when the Game, used,
Motorhead.
I forget, Motorhead, that's the
Yeah,
band. And so,
I
yeah,
got you.
so it's just like, it worked out well for both of them, but I love just the fact that the Games theme, like both of them, same with Cena. You hear Cena's too new, so I guess that's maybe give me 5 years and I'll probably put Cena above the Games.
What I love is it kind of snuck up. Like I always knew I enjoyed Cena Stugonomics theme song, but like now that it's so far removed from that, when he comes back to Mania or something and uses that old theme, you're like, oh man, like you get, I call it stank face. Like you immediately get that, like, oh, you get that feeling. You're like, yeah, that's what I needed today. You know what I mean? And
It
I
is
just
awesome.
love it. I love it. And
When
it
he came
snuck
out for
up
the
on me.
Usos, that was
Yep.
the good one.
I love that.
Another one I have, that's just one of those ones that kind of took me by surprise when I first heard it, but it's just like grew on me in that sense where it builds with the character. And that's Bobby Roode's Glorious theme. It
Bobby
just
Roode is
fits
really
him
good.
so well.
I do agree with that. And it, for some reason, it reminds me a lot of Keith Lee's. Like they have a little bit of similar, I don't know exactly why, I guess. But that's immediately what I think of when I hear Bobby Roode. But the whole thing is like, it's a part of the entrance. Like for that type of song, like the whole entrance is an experience. The same as kind of like Shinsuke and Balor when we're talking about that's a whole entrance. With Austin, like the glass breaking is really cool, but like it's not like a whole thing. You know what I'm saying? Where Bobby Roode, it's like a part of a greater experience. Same as like Orton's old theme, where he would have the like sparklers coming down, and I used to like
Same
that.
with Goldberg.
Yeah,
because Goldberg starts backstage, and you follow him to the ring, and then you get like the fireworks blowing on him, and then he enters.
100.
And then he has that whole same with Batista had another great one too. Just
he's on my top 5 list right here. Yep,
he's on your top 5. Ooh,
yep.
Should we get into that now, or should we keep going? Because I have a whole
we
list of
can
other
keep going.
ones.
We've definitely named some of my top 5.
Oh,
we definitely
have. We haven't hit any of mine yet.
Are you serious? These are some of the most iconic theme songs.
But I didn't want to go with the iconic ones because like I go to my list, which I just dropped here, but I didn't want to go with ones like Kurt Angle, who has just a great, like we're going like with Shinsuke. What makes, in my opinion, a great theme is it has to have that pop in the beginning, it has to have the character build, and it has to have the crowd interaction. Some of these have one or two of the others, but not many have all three. Like Kurt Angle's, it has that good pop, it has that crowd interaction. It does work with his character, but it's not anything that was too outstanding to me. Like when you hear it, like you don't get goosebumps, except for the fact that like we haven't seen Kurt Angle in a long time. But when Kurt Angle was in the WWE, it wasn't one of those ones that could make you feel like, oh my god, like there's something really about to happen. And then there's other ones. Shawn Michaels. I didn't have Shawn Michaels on my top 5 either, but it has that showmanship. It connects with the audience. It's just that character connection is, I feel like, well, I take that back. Shawn Michaels has one of the best. I just didn't want to be cliche and put him in my top 5.
Well, honestly, if we're going to talk like crowd interaction and the themes, I would have to go with Seth Rollins' Burn It Down theme. Because when you hear the entire audience scream, like you lose that now with his new character and his new theme, but when you hear an entire like sold out arena scream, "Burn it down!" like you're just ready. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't matter if he puts on the worst match of the night, which is rare, but like it just immediately sets you up. It sets you up for the whole thing. You're amped. You're ready to go.
Same with Sami Zayn's old theme. Or I don't know if it's his old theme anymore because we haven't seen him in such a long time now. But the the whole crowd sings along with it. It gives you that vibe of like, like that's what gives you like the goosebumps. Like they might not even be the main event. They're a mid-card jobber at this point, but he still got the entire crowd in the palm of his hands for that 30 to 40 seconds of him coming out.
Right now, I would probably say the hottest for wrestling fans, maybe not casuals, maybe not the Monday Night Raw watchers, but the most iconic theme going right now, I would think would have to be Undisputed Era. Because 100%. That Adam Cole, boom, like everybody is just ready for it. And I love that. When you're talking about, crowd participation, I love it. That's where I'm at 100%.
I didn't have them on there just for that cliche reason too, and mainly because for the Undisputed Era, what kind of makes that one so iconic is Adam Cole. You take Adam Cole out of that situation, it's a nothing. And so like when Adam Cole, if he goes and gets another theme, he could do the same thing, or he doesn't need to just, the boom could go away, but he could throw his hands up. Everyone's going to scream "Bay Bay." And so that one kind of has like a two-parter, kind of like the same thing with who do I have on here? Like the New Day. Like New Day has an iconic theme. You take Big E out of there, is it going to work?
Yeah, well, see, because his entrance, is that considered part of the theme? Because it's like his whole like intro beforehand.
I feel like if you do that at a house show, it's your intro everywhere. And they do that at house shows. They do that at normal events. Like that is part of their theme song.
I used to think they pre-taped it too, but they don't. Like, because sometimes like he doesn't have to say the city or anything, but like they show it a lot of times backstage. Him on the mic, just like, damn,
I think
dude,
they do
that's
it on
dedication.
Purpose. Yeah. And they have to be the most over tag team, and so, or they don't have to be, but they are, because the merch sales. That's the best way to always interact with the crowd. That's one of the reasons why they're one of the best sellers.
100%. Speaking of best sellers and great theme songs, NWO.
Oh, yeah, that one, especially the fact that it's just, the timing that it was around. That was like fight the system against the man. Like it was that first one where you wanted to do like Austin, just forget the man, flip off, and that was right around the same time.
Exactly. Well, and it's one of those that's so iconic. Everybody knew that theme. Everybody loved that theme. And it just became synonymous, like Austin, with a period of time in wrestling that just it reminds you, it's like nostalgia. Just that song can bring you back to that time of like, man, I loved wrestling back then.
The one right next to that one, I got to put it with like a semicolon, put a little slash.
Maybe with an X?
DX.
I love that.
You got to put it with the "Are you ready?" Like that was the like the post NWO crowd was able to easily flow in to the DX crowd, and that one, like you just said it perfectly with NWO. The same can be said for DX. It puts you in that time frame of this is the attitude.
What did you think of their second theme, the Run DMX or Run DMC version?
I mean, I feel like it was for star power. Like at that point, they were more of a clique group, anyways, a legends group. So it just something to kind of sell tickets. I'm usually more of a fan of the original themes. When they have to revamp them like that, I understand it's just to use because you need to make money, and what's the easiest way to make money than just to redo the theme song, get more eyes on it. And so I didn't hate it, but it's definitely not more favorite than the original.
The one thing I will say, because it reminds me when we talk about groups like DX, when we talk about groups like the NWO, they had like variant themes. So in NWO, they had like different sound clips that they would put in of like Bischoff or Hogan or something. Hogan had his own theme, but you know what I mean? Like they had these little variant sound clips. Even in the Wolfpack, they had like different sound clips of the different wrestlers and stuff. But when I think of DX, one of my favorite, and anybody who listens to the podcast, I'm a huge fan of Sean Waltman. I love the X-Pac version. It would be like X-Pac in the very beginning of the DX theme. You're like X-Pac, and they'd be like, boom, like I don't know why I pop for that every time, but I just love that little like yell. They're like X-Pac.
I remember that was one of the ones they put on the CD too. And so like when you don't even see them come out, when you're just listening to the themes over and over, it's one of those things that you pick up on too. It's like those little nuances that they add to it. Going off something like those little nuances, especially going into words of songs, I didn't really like Cody Rhodes, or Cody as he's in AEW, has a great theme. It has that sound that sounds good. It pops. It's kind of slow, but it's not like slow or boring. And I actually read the words for it.
It's good.
It means a lot. I didn't know the song was actually written for him.
Yeah.
And so like it's just amazing. Like my father said during hard time. Like it was just like, man, like it made me pop a lot more for his theme. And every time I hear it now, that I know like there's so much more in depth to it that builds his character.
I actually want to look something up real quick. Because someone said something recently and I didn't know if this is true or not, but I believe somebody told me that the Miz's theme song right now is also by Downstate.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because Matt Cardona's new song is also by Downstate, which is the band that does Cody Rhodes' theme song. And I'm not sure if this is true or not. So I'm trying to find it out, but I don't
Miz is
see
still
anywhere whether it
using
says it or
I
not.
Came to Play, right?
Yeah, but people said that was done, that was made by Downstate.
Oh, I did not know that.
I didn't either. I'm not sure, but actually someone commented it on one of my posts today. Actually, Downstate, I Came to Play. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Well, that is
I
a
came
small
to
little
play. There's a
wrestling
Pice.
world of
Yeah.
theme song.
That's what I'm
That
saying.
I didn't even have Miz on my thing, and I was like, that's a good pickup.
It is an
I Came to
iconic one,
Play.
though.
It is one of my workout songs. It's like it's
That's
funny because
awesome.
like it's one of those pump up songs, and when I hear it, I don't really associate it to Miz without the awesome.
Yep.
It's just one of those songs that you can listen to it, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, this is Miz's theme song.
I have a couple more that I think are going to be off the page of what we're talking about. But real quick before I get to that, I want to talk about supernatural characters, because I talked about certain people, their themes tell you about who they are before you see them. Vader, Big Van Vader, where it was like, it's time, it's Vader time, down. Like you immediately, and then at dropping, you're like, oh shit, you know what I mean? You're like, stuff's about to happen.
Yeah.
Kane.
Same with Undertaker, Kane.
Yep, you have these like intros. When that bell tolls, you know it's going down.
Bell tolls, lights go out, and then you hear it again. Then the little nuances of the sound come in, like like it's about to go. Or Kane's too, like boom, fire comes up. Yeah, it's like
I loved when they changed it from like the old school the organ music to Slow Chemical, where it was like the rock version of his theme.
I didn't like it at first. Going back now and rewatching those episodes or those matches, I'm like, okay, it wasn't that bad, but I disagree in the fact that I love the organ. It sounded much more creepy, much more intense. But I also the Slow Chemical, that was right when they removed his mask, right?
Yeah, it was like an evolving of his character.
Yeah, and so that was the one where I kind of got it, but I did not like that storyline just because I loved Kane with his mask, and when he took his mask off, I was a little kid. Like we've talked about this before, that was one of the matches that got me into wrestling. So when you see Kane without a mask for the first time, you're like, he's just a normal guy. Like I was kind of
he's not burned up. He can talk. You remember when he did the whole like I am Kane like that was hilarious. Okay, so on that same note then, I have the pen, so you know I'm getting serious. On that same note then, how did you feel about the Undertaker's like keep rolling?
See, that one I enjoyed more because they didn't keep him in that supernatural category. Like he came out in different attire. He wasn't being that brooding, dark makeup, bags around the eyes anymore. No, he was the American badass. He drove a Harley to the ring now. He was rolling to the ring. And so did his lap around, and then he became a biker character. So it fit the character more. Kane stayed the same, just, there is times where it works and it doesn't work. Bray Wyatt's works. He took his theme, literally did not change much on it, made it dark, demented, brought in a very dark and demented character. And man, the Fiend's theme is probably better than the Wyatt family's theme. And the Wyatt family's theme was iconic.
Yeah, I'm like, the Wyatt family theme is like one of the coolest themes in pro wrestling, honestly.
When the Fireflies come out, man.
Dude, when I heard that song for the first time, I think they had like, it wasn't even the team that they had in WWE. Were they in FCW? I don't even think it was NXT when they were around, because I remember watching them in developmental. And I think there was this dude, Eli Cottonwood, was with them. It was one of the big dudes from way back. And I remember them coming around, and I grabbed my nephew at the time, and I'm like, this is the team. I remember hearing the theme song being like, this is the team. This is the next hottest thing. I remember saying like world champion for sure. Like this is where it's at. And it was all this, the vibe, the theme. He had that like, what's the name of the dude? Waylon Mercy. He had that Waylon Mercy vibe, like old school wrestler. And I was like, this is going to be something. That is one of those themes that just immediately sold me in. Like Karrion Kross. Karrion Kross had one of those themes that just immediately was like, okay.
Karrion Kross' entrance is it's one of those ones that, man, gives you those goosebumps when he enters. And yeah, it's I had one on the tip of my tongue. Let me see if I think I wrote it down here.
I have one that we haven't mentioned yet that is like, I'm surprised neither of us has mentioned it.
Mention it.
Are we getting into like, because this is definitely one of my top 5.
Okay, no, I don't want to get into those ones yet.
Okay.
We'll save that one as a teaser.
I do have one that 100% I feel like probably isn't in your top 5, but is absolutely one of the most iconic themes of all time.
Okay, what is it?
Ultimate Warrior.
Oh, Ultimate Warrior. That one's definitely not on there, but man, that is one that when you hear it, you start to want to run around.
Exactly. It's 100%.
Like where you're just jumping and rolling and flying around. And that's exactly what he did. And that one, man, that one fit his character so well. Like Ultimate Warrior, it was the ultimate song. Another one that we haven't really mentioned that is iconic, and it's probably going to be on your list, is Edge's You Think You Know Me.
That's what my one that I said I'm surprised neither of us has mentioned before, but is on my top 5.
It's not on my top 5.
It is.
I went kind of obscure on mine.
It is honestly like just you talk about a perfect mixture. Like the crowd goes crazy. It's got the pyro. It's got like the emotion from him. Like it all comes together. It's such a like that's another thing is like some theme songs are just such a like a driving like rock song or something. You know, like with Mark Henry, it's got that cadence where you're just like, oh. But with Edge, it's just like balls to the wall. Like it's going down right now. You know,
yeah,
I love it, and
100%.
It's got that hook too with You Think You Know Me, you know, like.
All right, before we get into our top 5s, I want to go over wrestling themes that outplayed the wrestler. Like for me, I'll start it off. Sanity's theme. Sanity's theme was so good that got you so interested in their characters, who they are. Like when you hear them come out, you're like, what is going on? But I just feel like their build, especially their WWE build, not NXT build, just could not reach the hype of their theme.
I'm trying to think if I mean, theoretically, if you want to say that Shinsuke, sadly, because his intro, his hype was way higher than he ever got pushed. Like, just being completely honest, when you see what he accomplished in NXT and his like crazy violin entrances at takeovers and stuff and what he actually accomplished there versus WWE, his theme got way more like accreditation than he did in the main roster.
Yeah, that is a good one too. Is like Shinsuke, but I feel like Shinsuke is older now too. And so people go back and listen to his old or watch his old matches and like you kind of understand that he kind of does look like he's aged a bit.
Yeah. Hey, WWE booking will age anybody.
Yeah. They can't book long term, but they'll book you long term.
Hey, but also look at you love Bobby Roode, and Bobby Roode's the same. His theme song was more over than he was.
Exactly. They kept some people around probably just because their theme songs pop so well. I don't even think Rusev Day had a theme song necessarily, but I mean, it could have been just Rusev Day chants.
That was another one that used to pop me in the beginning where you'd be like, Rusev, whatever, Rusev Machka. And every time I'd be like, yeah, I just love that. Like, I didn't even know what the hell he was saying, but I was like, that's dope.
Is the only time I can think of is the Kurt Angle theme, but is there any other themes where wrestlers have made the audience adapt to? I know they try to do it to Baron Corbin's theme, but the audience never really took to it. But the "You Suck" chants, like that was just created. We know if that ever happened.
There is one thing that was like huge. That was a fan interaction thing, and it was the fandangoing.
Really?
If you remember the fandangoing, where that was just a fan thing. They just started doing that, and it was fandangoing, and it got way over way more over than he ever did. And it was like so big. And I remember them like in the dirt sheets saying they were like upset that it got over so well because like it was one of those things where they didn't intend to push him like that. It's kind of like the Ty Dillinger 10 thing and stuff like that.
Yes, where they tried to burn that down and they could not. People were
No.
that's the perfect one too, because Fandango and Breezango, when they do their theme together, it has that iconicness. But then again, when you have the Dana, that definitely outplayed that tag team because people just wanted to hear that theme. And that's like a perfect example, like, because I completely forgot about it, but when you hear it, it does make you pop.
Exactly. What was the theme song you hated to hear the most?
The theme song I hated to hear the most, when I was a younger kid, I'm not gonna lie, it was Edge's, just because like I hated Edge as a character,
okay.
and so it was just one of those things. Like when I heard Edge's theme, I was just like, he's coming out again. Right now, it is Baron Corbin's for me right now. I don't like his new. I like the old one he had when he had the hair. But ever since he switched and when they added that king, half and half king in it, and half and half back to the other one, it was like, come on, man. Like, it doesn't work for me. It's too splotchy. It's two different themes that don't really interact with each other. And then plus when I hear it, I know he's coming out. I can stand without it.
I'm a Corbin fan. I am a Corbin fan, but I love all the heels. So for me, it was always it was like the Swiss air raid siren, the police siren over from Cesaro. That old thing where it was always like be-doo, be-doo. I hated that so
European
much.
Siren.
I hated that. It was just that part of the theme. Once that was over, I was fine with it. But I hated whenever he came out. And I was such a huge fan of him and Tyson Kidd, but I hated that stupid siren sound at the beginning of his theme. And it would it would make me mad. Like, I don't know why, but it would make me mad.
Right to Censor had the same thing. And I was like, get them off. Like, get them away. Cannot stand that.
100%. So I do have a couple here that I want to bring up that are kind of like out of left field, but are ones that I feel were kind of iconic that I enjoyed, but weren't necessarily my favorites. Excuse me. They're a little older too.
Okay.
So Goldust.
Oh, I had that one on not my top 5, but my list to talk about is.
I feel like his was definitely iconic. Yep. His was also one of the ones that was an entrance.
Yes.
Where it was like the whole.
It was his whole matches were just shows. Like you needed to watch it.
In the old school days where they did the like original 24 karat gold productions or whatever, and they had it would switch frame rate from like regular TV frame rate to like film or whatever. So it was actually like
29.9. So you see it like a little differently. Miz does that one too when they go to the slow-mo for his.
Well, that was really cool with Miz and Morrison back in the day too, with the whole like slow motion pose and yeah, that was legit.
What do you think of the ones where they actually put it on their camera? Like Sammy Guevara does it.
That's kind of cool. Tyler Breeze did that back in the day, didn't he?
Breeze did that for a while too.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Even to a certain extent, that's kind of like the Matt Hardy version one thing. Like, because his was like the web, But I also, speaking of, I didn't even have him on the list, but now that I'm thinking that, I can slap a tornado. Dude, I used to be into that one. Yeah. I didn't even think of that until just now, but I was all about that. And that brings me to another one, because it's a quick jump from Matt Hardy to Gregory Helms. Stand back!
Stand back!
There's a hurricane coming through.
Yes, I was about to bring that one up too.
His theme sucked. Like, but that was it, because the rest of it was like, like it was the most generic theme.
Could you imagine if they gave him Stand Back, there's a hurricane coming through, and then start with Daniel Bryan's theme after that?
Oh,
like that would have been one too, because he has that superhero theme that just works so well. But then again, I cannot hear that sound without going, yes.
I kind of think he's almost the reverse of like Shinsuke and Sanity and stuff. It's like he should, like, if I heard that theme, I'd be like, nobody's getting over with that theme song. You know what I mean? Like, I would hear that and be like, that's not a superstar.
Yeah, that's where I would go with Macho Man's. Like that would be the equivalent for that one. Like you listen to Macho, that sound come out, you're like, this guy's nothing. Like what are we getting? The Queen? Yeah. And then you see it's the Macho Man. and you're like, oh, okay, I can go with this a little bit.
What about Jake Roberts?
Jake the Snake Roberts. His is really, his is more like aged for me, and so it's just like, like it worked in the day, but I don't think that would get over nowadays.
See, I liked his because it was like the like tone to it. It had like, it's one of those themes that just has like kind of like a vibe. Like you're like, oh, this is kind of like, it's kind of dangerous a little bit. Like maybe this is like a little mysterious. I don't know. It was different than a lot of the other stuff they had going. But reminding me of old school themes that had an iconic intro, Roddy Piper.
Ooh, yeah, the Roddy Piper one was another really good one that when you heard it, it was like boom, you knew Roddy was coming out, and he was so over. He was kind of the ones where he made that song more popular than what it was.
Yeah, at least in the States, yeah.
Yeah.
At least in the States, it was much more popular. But it was one of those things where it's like that iconic hook. Mankind. Well, which version? Because the Mick Foley car crash is also amazing. Okay, I was thinking like if you think of like the old like the original piano Mankind with like that was weird. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm doing car crash.
I love that. Now my last one of my old school, which to me makes me feel old calling this old school because it's like Attitude Era. Disco Inferno. I don't know if you know who that is, if you watched WCW around that time. But he was like kind of a jobber in WCW. He was like he's a television champion. He has a podcast now. His name's
super familiar.
Glenn Gilberti is his name now. He has a podcast. But anyway, his theme song was Disco Fever, Disco Fever, Disco Fever. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I can't sing, so for everybody listening, I apologize. But he would do like a whole like disco dance and everything while he was doing it. And it's just one of those things that is for, 20 plus years that'll just randomly get into my brain and not escape me for like days. And I'll just be walking around the house making a Pop-Tart like Disco Fever.
That is awesome. One of my left field ones I'm going to throw out there too that kind of is the same thing for me is the Too Cool banging it.
Oh, yeah, dude.
I just sometimes will be just like banging it and just do the same thing. So when you said that, I was like, oh, that's the one I go to.
Turn it up.
Turn it up. Yeah. Exactly. And that's usually what pops into my head because someone like, hey, turn it up. Like, turn it up. Banging it.
That immediately makes me think of like the Rikishi dance and everything though.
Yeah. Like, I got the hat for it too.
Speaking of Rikishi, actually, not Rikishi, but his sons, when they used to come and do like the whole like intro before their old school theme.
When they had their face paint and everything on. Yeah.
That was always super cool to me. And I dig their new theme, but like I like themes that have like stuff that goes with it. It's like interesting and different.
Do you think pyro's needed?
Sometimes it actually kind of hurts an intro. Like if you have pyro in an underwhelming theme song, then it's like not as cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
like Johnny Gargano can't have pyro.
Yeah. No. I also think it depends on the star. Like Orton, I liked his style of pyro because he would put the arms out and it was like a slow, like flowing, like the Psycho Sid style, pyro. Whereas like if he had, I don't know, if he had like pyro that just went off like energetically, I'm like, it doesn't fit, That's why I like Edge. That's why I love Goldberg. Like that just fit. He's like a dragon coming out of there, dude. Like it's sick.
Batista. We were talking about that. But like Batista has the iconic one. Dudley Boys, the one. Pew,
yeah.
Pew, pew.
Yeah. I used to love that. But Dudley Boys are one of those teams that are like seriously would never need pyro. Like WWE made them a pyro team, but like ECW, they were just like on their merit. Like they don't even need theme music. Like just
like they were lucky if they had a stage.
But I will say, honestly, now that we talk about this, the Dudley Boys, their pyro was a way better part of their entrance than their theme music. Their theme music was kind of forgettable.
Yeah, well, that's what gave them their pop was the pyro. And then when the theme music kind of came in, they were already making their entrance. You kind of forgot it was playing.
It was like
I feel like makes a good entrance. Yeah.
I do agree. Like it wasn't bad, but like the theme song to me just wasn't like I used to love. I'd pop for the pyro, 100%. I'd be like, oh yeah, be into that.
Uh,
But not
and
the
we
same.
talked about like the showmanship of it. Like Alistair Black's too. Now that we're thinking about it,
Yeah.
like that one, it doesn't like you don't need any like pyro. You don't need anything.
Mm-hmm.
Just the smoke comes in, and then you see him rising up. Like it
Yep.
has that whole entrance factor to it.
You know what I used to love, and it reminds me, we were talking to Baron Corbin, like his NXT entrance. I used to love like the spotlights, like those were super
Mm-hmm.
cool. And they used to do this thing with Nia back in the day where they just show her eyes. I don't know if you remember that.
Yes.
That was so sick, dude. And I hated when they move away from that stuff. I loved Baron Corbin with the little circle spotlights where he'd like move in. And I get it, like over time that kind of gets, old. But I popped for that stuff back in the day. I was like, oh, this is different. I really like this.
This would be a controversial one. I really enjoyed when Jinder was champion and they gave him the carpet, that
Yeah.
magic carpet to come out. Like it,
Mm-hmm.
his theme it had that ethnic vibe because that's what they were
Yeah.
playing off of.
Yeah.
But it worked. And when they gave him that Titantron that would light up like the Taj
Mm-hmm.
Mahal or whatever
I
palace they
loved it.
wanted it to be, it worked so well. And it was one of those themes that kind of outplayed the character because when you see him come to the ring, you expect a world champion, and you see him with a belt, you expect a world champion.
I like Jinder. I know that's such an unpopular opinion, but I like Jinder. I don't think his title reign was the worst. Like Kali's was definitely worse, but he had better opponents. Because people crap on Jinder, but I'm like, Kali was a way worse champion. He just had better partners to dance with. But the only reason I say that is because they were both horrible champions, or at least looked at as horrible champions. But I also love Kali's theme song.
No,
I thought Kali had a great theme. All right, but we're winding down here, so let's go ahead and jump into some of our last like big ones we've been holding on to. What is your top five?
My top five. Are we going to go like 5-5 and then 4-4? Or are we going to go do all five?
You can just hit your top five because a lot of mine I've already said. There's actually one remaining on my list that I have not mentioned yet.
Well, I am surprised. We haven't hit any of my top five.
Oh, wow. Well, I'm ready.
And so, yeah. So on number 5, I got Chris Jericho's AEW theme, Judas. Because
definitely great.
You have to have that one just because the way the crowd interacts with it, what he uses it for, the fact that he's the singer of the band for it, and he was able to take this brand new theme and get it over so quickly.
Yeah.
I had to give him that iconic motion on it because it's just one of those themes where I'm just like, I sing along at home and scream at the top of my lungs with it.
It is
and then I put this in the same category as Stone Cold Steve Austin. I believe this is the New Day, not the New Day, the New Age Stone Cold Steve Austin theme, and that's Moxley's new theme. I just love the way it like starts, and you just can tell he comes from the crowd, kind of has that Shield vibe or Sandman vibe too. And it kind of has everything about it, and he gets to keep that character that he's been building so much with it. And I just love the fact that when I hear it, I know it. It's one of those ones where I'm like, I don't second guess it. And same with the Jericho one. It happened so quickly. Like, it's so quick that it came out. I knew it before AEW even happened because he released that promo of it. And it was just automatically one of those bangers. You have something you want to add in on her?
I was just thinking, like, I actually like the Dean Ambrose theme more than the Jon Moxley theme.
I did not like the Dean Ambrose one. But I love when and then it just like breaks into it right now. Like it's one of those ones where like I did it on my WWE or AEW theme rankings where like you jump. It's one of those things like I forget what we were talking about earlier, but it makes you want to jump around like Ultimate Warrior kind of vibe. And then this going back to my ECW days, one of the reasons I love this theme so much is it never ends.
Oh my God, I know who you're gonna say now.
New Jack.
Yeah.
Whenever you heard it, the whole place goes up and it becomes a house party. And New Jack brings the house down with the party. Music plays through the entire match. The match plays through the entire arena. He might drop on his head. He might drop you on your head. You never know what's going to happen. But New Jack, whenever you heard it, you know danger was coming. And it sent shiver down everyone's spine. And that is just,
Honestly, I didn't think too much about ECW themes, but damn, dude, like Walk by Pantera for RVD, Enter Sandman for the Sandman. They actually, even the ECW Hardcore TV theme was awesome. I used to love that theme.
They used that for RVD when he first came in too for a while, and then like it was just one of those iconic sounds for like you when you heard the ECW, ECW, like it's just one of those things where like I still watch those and I get hyped up watching them.
When I think RVD though, I also think one of a kind.
Yeah, I had him on my WWE list too that we didn't get to, but RVD had because especially his entrance too, jumping up with the splits, kind of like the Rey Mysterio. Neither of those are on my top 5, but my number 2 is Break the Walls Down. So Jericho's on here twice, but Break the Walls Down was one of those themes that even as a kid, when I first heard it, even though he was a heel, you loved to hear that theme song. You saw the numbers count down, you see the silhouette, and then boom, it's like the Edge where it's like you think you know me, like break the wall, like people just pop for it. And even to this day, like if they played that theme in WWE, it would break the sound decibel system. Like it would go insane. And then my number 1 is Bayley's Babyface theme.
Oh yeah, I know you're a mark for that theme.
I don't know why. It's one of those ones that I don't want to say outplayed the character, but it played up her babyface character so well. Like when it brought tears to my eyes sometimes. Like I'd be listening to it. And they were like, there ain't no stopping us now. We're going to dance. When the Bailey Bubbies pop up, I'm just like, I wanted to root for her so badly. It didn't matter who came out. And then you see this spunky little girl with a half ponytail, and you're like, I want her to win no matter what. It set it up for a perfect baby face, and I'm sad to see it go, but it definitely got old for a lot of people, and I see it. But everyone was hating on her theme for the longest time. Up until they canceled it, I was still getting teary-eyed watching it. It gave me that.
For me, it was the total package. It was a mixture because all the fans got super into it. The Bailey buddies, the hugging in the audience. Like I have a Huggers t-shirt. What is it? Like I forget what it says, but like original Hugger or something. But I completely bought into that, and I love how bubbly and upbeat that was. Like you could be the saddest ever in the world and her theme would kick on and you'd be like, all right, today's gonna be a good day. Like that's the way I feel. But like just going over these that we've talked about that you've said, I didn't put Jericho in mind just because I feel like, especially in our friend group, I think Judas is like completely like everybody's cliche. Like we all love Judas, but I think it was a little short-sighted to me because I'm thinking of us, like in our group, what we're all into. But that's kind of why I shied away from Jericho. But just talking about Bayley, Sasha has a great theme. Sasha has an amazing theme.
Written for her as well.
Exactly. And if you think of that, you also got to say when you're looking at women's themes, that Becky has one of the best themes in the business.
Yeah.
Now, as far as my list, there was one that I didn't think of till just now because we were talking about Moxley, and I don't know how it was on my list because it's so good. Shield, Hotel, India, Echo, whatever. The Shield, Delta, Shield. The Shield's theme song was so, and now Roman was so iconic. You know what I mean? And it's funny because we talked about Mox/Ambrose and we also talked about Rollins, but we didn't talk about Roman or the Shield theme. But it is like one of those iconic things. It's like also like, I don't know, just the beginning has that hook. And it's like huge. But the one that we didn't mention that pops me every time, Chicago born CM Punk, dude.
I was going to save that one for you.
It was so good. I love it. I just posted a video of it on TikTok the other day from WrestleMania 29. Punk went against Undertaker. They had such a great entrance because Living Color did his song live for WrestleMania, and then he came out, he had the urn, and like he did this cool thing, like he's reading Paul's watch instead of his own for yelling it's clobber and like it was just, the whole entrance was just so good, and it made me realize why I appreciated the theme song so much. And it's just so cool. It's like, it's not your typical theme song. It has almost like this jazzy rock, like alternative vibe to it, and it's like almost like an 80s, early 90s vibe, you know?
what I like most about his version of Cult of Personality is it's not the one that Living Color normally plays.
Yeah.
Like, it has its own funky beat to it. So he took a real song and kind of made it adapt with him. And you're right. It's kind of like with the MJF feel. It's like it's that funkiness that you don't expect it to be with this person, but it works. Okay. And that's I was saving CM Punk for you because I knew you wanted to mention that one. I'm surprised you didn't mention the other half of CM Punk.
Oh, AJ's theme actually is one of my favorites. I didn't think of it. I honestly didn't think about it. When you're looking at wrestling theme songs, like I'm about to turn 34 years old on Wednesday. So actually the day this post is my birthday. But so I've been a wrestling fan since I was like 11, I think. To cram that much, because I'm like just sitting here thinking about all the stuff. Like you're talking about Aleister Black, and I'm remembering the Kiss Demon Dale Torborg from WCW, like way back in the day, had a similar type of entrance, like that type of thing. And we're talking about like Sting's classic entrances from way back in the day. That's what I'm saying. Like all these things are coming to me. One that I didn't mention, and I didn't write it down, but all day I've been thinking about it, and I can't believe I haven't mentioned it till now. But one of my most iconic, my favorite theme songs, Self High Five, was the freaking DDP, dude, because that was my jam as a kid. I was so into that. And I actually had the great fortune of meeting DDP and talking to him for a while one time. And like, it was a childhood dream. And the fact that I haven't mentioned his theme song till now actually makes me very sad. Because that was what I thought about all day when we talked about this.
This is why you wait till the end, fans. You have to wait all the way to the end because you don't know what gems we're going to drop at the very end of the podcast.
That's right. DDP, if you ever watch this, but you won't, I'm very sorry.
No, we built the tension. He was the main event.
For sure. He was always a main event. And I imagine there's a whole ton of theme songs that we left off this list because there's a million of them. We also haven't touched a lot of other companies that are out there too. We just barely scratch the surface of AEW, even, to be completely honest.
I know.
You got like the Lucha Bros, you got FTR, I hate
How many best friends comments do you think we're going to get down below?
Yeah, exactly. There are a ton out there that I know people are going to make comments about. But that's the great thing about the comment section. You get to type whatever you want. You could literally say, I like Applebee's 2 for $20. We can't stop you.
But I do agree. I do like Applebee's 2 for $20.
There you go. Not a sponsor, but we're open.
We are. Wait.
We're open to all sponsors. I would like to give a shout out to MachoFanSandyRavage for being the best co-host I could ever ask for. Make sure you're following him on YouTube, on Instagram, on Twitter, on TikTok, on Dancer, on Prancer, the rest of that stuff too. And
get it
on TikTok, TALK, wrestling on TikTok. That is the promo league that he has created and runs that I kind of do some promos sometimes in, but not really. But it is the hottest.
Don't hold yourself down. You are one half of the tag team champions. Hey. And you are the other half of this podcast. So if you are following the Macho Fan, you have to be following HeelHugz as well. He does have merch. So Hugs, put on that pro wrestling season. We got to get you some Hugs shirts sold.
That's right.
Right there, guys.
/HeelHugz. Get you
well, he is, but close enough.
Soon to both. Soon to both. Also, make sure you guys are using the KOTK hashtag on social media. Make sure to tag myself, tag the Macho Fan himself. We're trying to get this built up. We're hoping, we hear a lot from you guys. You're enjoying the podcast. So we are hoping that you're using it on social media. Get the word out there. Get some other people to listen as well or watch on the YouTube channel. We recently broke 100 subscribers on the YouTube channel, 100 followers on the TikTok. Spread the word. This is for y'all. And, we do this for fun, but we also want to hear what you guys think. You're a part of this podcast just as much as we are. You're the silent third and however many other partner. So with your comments, we can just get better as we go. And hopefully you'll keep listening. But this has been us. We've done things.
And whether it's real or it's fake, we always keep the kayfabe.
That's right. Thanks for listening, guys. We love you. Bye.
Peace out.